What is up, everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team career mode. We are really at the business end of the season here now, at round number 19 of season 4 of our Jaguar racing career, and we are just a few points off the top spot at the moment, 17 points down on Lando Norris. Anything can still change in these last 5 races of the season, including 2 sprint weekends, one of which is this one here in the US of A, the Texas Grand Prix, of course, at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin. I am so looking forward to this one. It is unbelievable. I think we have a very, very good chance of doing quite well here. However, we are going to be hampering ourselves slightly by the fact that we are taking a brand new gearbox and a brand new energy store, both of which are over our allocation, which means that we will be taking a grid penalty here. I believe it will be a 15-place grid penalty, if I'm not mistaken. So if there is a sprint race, of course, so if we finish the sprint race in first, the highest we can possibly start, unless other people take grid penalties, is going to be 16th. So I think that we're going to have to try and get a very good result in the sprint. I think that's going to be the minimum that we need to do here if we want any chance of staying with Norris in the championship. It might be another damage limitation potential, unless something crazy happens. But then we've got a few good races coming up for us. Mexico is so-so. Brazil and Portugal. Those are the races that I think are going to decide the championship, though. If I can do well there, I think that we will beat Norris in the championship quite comfortably. If I have a poor race in either Brazil or Portugal, I think the championship could end up going the way of Mercedes. For the 4th consecutive season now, they would have won the Drivers' Championship. They had Russell winning it in the 1st and 2nd seasons we did. Valtteri Bottas, after his sensational return to Mercedes following the retirement of Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas ended up taking the 3rd championship that we competed in, and now we are battling with the Mercedes of Lando Norris for that 4th season that we're currently involved in. It would be a first world championship for either of us, and I'm very excited to see who takes it. Practice, we looked pretty good. 1/10 off of Sergio Perez, exactly 1/10 actually. And yeah, I definitely felt like I had a bit more in me on that quali pace run, so hopefully in qualifying we'll be able to compete up at the business end of the grid. And because it is a sprint weekend, of course, we're going to get straight into qualifying. No more practice sessions. And yeah, I think the target here, it's got to be pole position, right? It's got to be getting to the highest possible position we can get, and then hopefully turning that into a victory in the sprint. Start 16th in the race and hopefully just score a few points. I don't think that we'll be able to win or even get onto the podium, if I had to guess, in the race itself without red flags or a safety car. At least I think, you know, we're going to need some divine intervention in order to do well in the race. But in the sprint, we should be able to get a good result. But anyway, let's stop speculating and let's focus on what's actually happening in front of our eyes. Here we are on our first flying lap of Q1. We're on a fresh set of soft compound tyres. It's a 1:31.2. It's the fastest lap of the session so far, but I do feel like I had a bit more in me, so we will see if we can get that on our second flying lap on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, which we begin now into the final few corners. You can see that Sainz has gone marginally faster, and when I say marginally faster, I mean half a tenth. So we are going to be improving by 0.3 of a second. We're the first driver into the 130s this weekend, and that is P1 in the session. Very nice. If we can get that in the next couple sessions, that would be very, very welcome. So yeah, we make our way into Q2, no real qualms. Magnussen P9. One person I'm not seeing in the order here is Lando Norris, of course. We've got the Mercedes of Albon in P7, but Lando Norris is out in Q1 in P18. He joins Lawson, Joe, Fittipaldi, Stroll and De Vries. What a shocker from Lando Norris. That is not what he would want at this stage of the season. He had a chance to really capitalise on his championship lead, especially with me taking that grid penalty, and he has absolutely fucked it, for want of a better term. I cannot believe that Lando Norris is going to be starting 18th for the sprint tomorrow. Now, more than ever, I need to get as many points as I can to really pull away from Lando Norris in this championship if I can avoid it. I can't believe that. That is absolutely remarkable. I am going to do everything I can to make sure that we don't throw this one away. We're currently in P13 after our banker run on a used set of soft compound tyres, but we are crucially improving by quite a significant margin. We are 8/10 up at the moment. I'm hoping that we will be able to get even more time back through the last couple of corners here. We're going to need a good improvement, but we are going to beat Dennis Hauger there in P11, so I imagine that we should be getting into the top 10 here. No matter what happens, you can see we get a lot more improvement through the final corner. 9/10, we're into the 130s once again, and it is P2. We are through to Q3. We will be starting in the top 10 no matter what happens, and I would say that given that the sprint is only going to be 10 laps, Norris is going to have a real task on his hands to get into the top 8 there. Perez, Hauger, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Sargent and Ocon knocked out there. So not really many surprises. Disappointing for Perez, who kind of, I'd say his championship challenge is mostly over at this point. Magnussen threw in P7. Nice to see that. We'll see if he can compete for a decent spot on the grid for the sprint. But in any case, I think that I just need to not throw this away now. We need to be challenging for pole position here no matter what happens. We start on a used set of soft compound tyres. I think it was the exact same set of tyres we finished Q2 on actually. And as we round the final corner, we're going to see what kind of time we can do on the used tyres. It's a 1:31.5. Unsurprisingly, only puts us at P9. But we will have a fresh set of soft compound tyres to do our proper run on if we can improve once we get onto those. We're currently up on Kevin Magnussen, so we're definitely going to be at least P6 here, but I'm hoping we can get a bit more. I don't know if there's a lot of improvement in these last few corners or not. There was certainly a lot of improvement through that corner. We saved about 2/10 through that corner alone. So as we round the long right-hander and then get into the last couple of corners, we're going to see exactly how much improvement we're going to be getting here. We're going to be into the 130s by the looks of things. It's an 8/10 improvement. It's going to be a 130.7. Is it pole position? No, it's P2. Not the end of the world, but definitely not quite what I was hoping for.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Verstappen, Robinson and Alex Albon. Well, that wraps up qualifying, but don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand Prix.
Max Verstappen, how have you done that? P1. He has been having an absolutely washed season, and all of a sudden we rock up at COTA and he's on pole position. Very, very impressive stuff from the Aston Martin driver. Will it be enough for him to get back in the championship? Almost certainly not. I think the ship has sailed on that one quite significantly. But, yeah, Kevin Magnussen, P7, good chance of scoring some points over the course of the weekend. You would hope in at least one of the sessions he'll grab some points, but who knows? Who knows what Kevin Magnussen has in store for us this weekend. He's only going to be a driver for us for a few more weekends anyway, and if you have any suggestions of who you want to replace him, do get them down in the comments. Only a few more videos where that will be applicable before I record the season finale. So, yeah, you'll want to get those one-ins in nice and quickly, but we will see if we can get a good result in the sprint. I am hoping that we can get the victory. We can jump Verstappen off the start, but yeah, we will see how things unfold as we get into the sprint.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint.
Now, I've learned my lesson from previous videos with sprints in. They never talk during this bit until it gets to doing the grid rundown, which I can tell when that is coming up, and we've got a little bit of time, so I'm just sort of doing my mindless filler content for a second while there's no Alex Jakes, and eventually we will get to the point where the grid rundown will start and I am going to stop talking.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. And Robinson completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Albon, Sainz, Doohan, Gasly, Magnussen, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Leclerc, Perez, Hauger, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Ocon, Liam Lawson, Norris, Joe, Fittipaldi, Stroll, and Nick de Vries rounds off the grid. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We will soon find out.
I don't think they're going to be saying anything here either, so I can come back in just for a little bit. Jack Doohan is starting from P5 here today, and I am keeping a very watchful eye over him because in relation to the thing I was talking about with signing a new teammate for next season, I think slowly over the course of what is only been the second half of the season, so only about 7 races or so, he has really cropped up on my radar as somebody to watch.
We're still in with a chance of winning this title. We need you to push as hard as you can in the 5 remaining races.
Yep, I would say with Lando Norris starting all the way down in 18th, we actually have a very good chance of getting back at him quite significantly in this championship. There is a real possibility that he goes pointless this weekend, and if that happens, I think that we could potentially even catch him. It would require us to get a top 5 finish in the race itself. Even if we win the sprint here today, we would need to get at least 5th place, and also for Lando Norris not to score for us to regain the lead of the championship. So it may not happen, because we will be starting, I don't think, any higher than 16th unless other people have grid penalties that I don't know about. But in any case, we'll definitely be starting outside the top 10 in the race. So this is an absolutely critical 10 laps for me here in the sprint. If I can get the victory here over Max Verstappen, then that is absolutely pivotal for us. So we will see what we can do as the lights come on and the lights go out, and Max Verstappen has gone nowhere. I am already through into the lead, and Alex Albon is up into P2 as well. So yeah, ridiculous start from Max Verstappen there. I don't know what he was doing, but he basically just went absolutely nowhere. I know what Doohan was doing, and that was making his way up from P5 to P3. He's on the podium already. What an absolutely amazing start there from Jack Doohan. I'm really keeping my eye on him in these last few races, but not quite as much as I'm keeping an eye on my mirrors through these first few corners, because Alex Albon is closing us down. You have to apologise if it sounds like I'm losing my voice. It's because I am. I recorded the Qatar race earlier today, and well, let's just say I've been busy over these past few days, and I've not had much voice left to work with even before I recorded that Qatar video. So yeah, I'm trying my hardest, but if you do hear a few voice cracks or moments of weakness, then you'll have to forgive me. I am trying my hardest to persevere through it. We're persevering through the first lap of the race, and we are still leading the Grand Prix so far. Alex Albon not putting any undue pressure on us. Max Verstappen comes into the pits at the end of the first lap, assuming that he got some kind of damage, and he held up Gasly and Sainz quite something. So I would say my only true rivals in this race now, unless Alex Albon really holds me up, it's going to be Alex Albon and Jack Doohan. Those are going to be the only people who could maybe spoil my day here today, and it looks like Alex Albon is going to try and do exactly that up the inside as we get to the end of the DRS zone, and Alex Albon has made his way through into P1. We are back down to where we started in P2, but we have rescinded the position to somebody else this time. It is, of course, Alex Albon in the Mercedes. He's been team hopping a fair amount throughout these 4 seasons. Started out, of course, at Williams, moved to AlphaTauri to, I believe, I can't remember who he replaced. I think it was Tsunoda when Tsunoda went to Alfa Romeo, and then he replaced Lando Norris at the McLaren, and now I've replaced him for the lead of the race. Just thought I would mention that one at least. But yeah, and now Alex Albon has found his way to Mercedes, replacing Théo Pourchaire, who of course was sacked earlier this season. Esteban Ocon here in the Alpine. He is out of the race, and that was about the only other thing that happened for the remainder of the race, at least until the end of the Grand Prix, or at least until the end of the race, I should say, where here comes Alex Albon. He's going to try and spoil my day once again on the final lap. He's made his way through with the DRS, but we're going to try and fight him back around the outside. We give him just enough room for us to go wheel to wheel through the corner, and now we're going to be wheel to wheel through the next sequence of corners as well. We go up the inside, tiny bit of contact there between myself and Albon, but we have made the move up into P1, and I don't think he is going to be able to take this one off us now. I've only got a few corners left, and then I'm going to be the rightful victor of the sprint race. 8 points in the bag. Norris, I can see him in a train all the way down in, I don't even know what position that is. 21 drivers in the race. It looks like he's in about P17 or something like that. He's gone nowhere in this race, and we are going to round the final corner to take P1 in the sprint, and that is 8 hard-earned points. We close the gap in the championship to 9 points, and I am very happy with that one. Hopefully we can continue building from that and get a good result from 16th on the grid in the race tomorrow. It's going to be a tall order, but I think we can do it.
So let's see how the drivers' standings have changed. This result narrows the gap between our championship leader and the rest of the standings. Well, that wraps up Sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Kevin Magnussen grabs a single solitary point for a P8 finish there. Not quite what I would have wanted from him, but I'm not too disappointed. You know, at this point, we're just trying to cruise to the end of the season and try and hold on to that P3 in the Constructors if we can. Because we've been so focused on the Drivers' Championship battle, I feel like we've kind of almost lost sight of the Constructors' Championship, but it is still a very important facet for us. It's the difference between us being awarded a bonus $12 million at the end of the season by our primary sponsor if we reach it, and if we don't, then it's going to be harder to make those upgrades at the beginning of next season. So it will definitely be something that we will need to keep an eye on. So hopefully Kevin Magnussen can grab a few points, especially with me starting outside the top 10, but we will see what we can do as we get into the Texas Grand Prix.
F1 is so popular in these parts now that we race here 3 times a year, but let's give full respect to COTA, or the Circuit of the Americas if you prefer, which laid the foundations for it. It still remains the United States Grand Prix. It's the Circuit of the Americas then. Situated 14 miles outside the great city of Austin, this is a 3.6 mile lap with 20 corners, 10 to the left and 10 to the right. Top speeds are around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available in turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. What a great lap from Alexander Albon yesterday. He'll start from pole position, and Jack Doohan completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Hauger, Magnussen, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Perez, Tsunoda, Fittipaldi, Joe, Liam Lawson, Verstappen, Robinson, Norris, De Vries, Stroll, Leclerc, Russell, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. With me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. Let's talk about Robinson. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances. But what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another good race today.
OK, we need a good result today if we want to catch Norris in the Drivers' Championship.
Well, we're going to be starting, ironically, alongside Max Verstappen once again, which is what happened when we were in P1 and 2 in the sprint, starting P15 and 16 here in the race. If I'm not mistaken, I think this happened last year at COTA as well, where Max Verstappen and me made contact on the opening lap, and we both had to box, and it resulted in us both being very far down the order, and we started basically on the back row of the grid, I think, the two of us. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how starting alongside him again it turns out. I'll try and jump him as quickly as I can. Obviously he went basically absolutely nowhere on the start on the previous occasion. We're going to be on the medium tyres with everybody else on the softs. It's not going to be easy for us to stay ahead of these guys, but hopefully we can get ahead of at least Lando Norris here. In any case, we will see what we can do as the lights come on and the lights go out, and we've had a good getaway compared to the Williams of Lawson there. We're ahead of both of the Alfa Romeos, but Verstappen has had a strong start there, and we will not be getting past him. Looks like Norris has bogged down a bit. He's not managed to get past those guys. We're going to dive up the inside of a couple drivers here, Fittipaldi and Verstappen, see if I can get ahead of either of them. It seems like I have beaten out Max Verstappen here, but Enzo Fittipaldi, my old teammate from Season 1, fighting back against me a little bit, and eventually, as we make our way through the S's, we actually go off the track, but we get away with it. I suppose maybe the game deemed that he'd forced me off the track, and so no warning for that one. We are up into P11, directly behind our teammate, who must have had a pretty poor start here to be down from P7 to P10. We're already directly behind him, and that just goes to show how weak Magnussen has been. He can't seem to get good starts. He doesn't have amazing race pace. His qualies have been okay, I guess, but nothing particularly remarkable from Magnussen. It's been a disappointing season when you consider that his teammate is challenging for the world title, and well, I mean, even Porsche was doing better than this when they sacked him at Mercedes. So Magnussen's lucky I kept him on for another half a season. Both of the Hasses currently occupying 7th and 8th as I dive up the inside of Kevin Magnussen in the other Jaguar. We're into the top 10 now, into the points already. Nice to see. But yeah, the Hasses, P7 and P8 at their home race, they'll be pretty happy with that because they, well, You may remember in Season 2, they were a bit of a powerhouse for a while. Both Hulkenberg and Magnussen for Haas managed to pick up a victory in Season 2. But then they kind of fell away a little bit, and they've yet to really repeat their former glories of that year. But they've picked up a few points this season, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to grab some here again today. It'd be nice to see my real life favourite team doing well in the series as well. But hopefully we do manage to clear these two drivers as quick as possible. We've got ahead of Sergio Perez. Magnussen was coming back at us, and we managed to turn defence into attack and get ahead of Sergio Perez for P9. And now we're going to see if we can get ahead of Nico Hulkenberg in the Haas. I tell you what, him and Sargent have been very close to one another recently. It seems like Logan Sargent has really started to come good. Either that or Hulkenberg is maybe just aging a bit and falling off. I think at this stage he's about 38 or 39, so probably not too far away from retiring if I had to guess. We've not heard anything about it yet, but who knows, maybe it could come this season. If not this season, then I reckon definitely within the next couple of seasons. Same deal with Kevin Magnussen if I had to guess, and Sergio Perez can't be too far away from retirement either. Apart from that, I reckon I could feasibly see the rest of these guys seeing out the rest of their careers in Formula 1. I'm sure that there will be more twists and turns than that, but who knows. In any case, we have made our way past Nico Hulkenberg, and now we're going to try and put some pressure on his teammate Logan Sargent, who has a really weird entry into the final corner. Catches us off guard a little bit. We almost ploughed into the back of him, but we managed to turn it into a bit of an attack, a bit of a switchback. He's going to try and come back at us round the outside at turn 1, but we are wise to it, and we managed to hold him off. Up the inside, we are through into P7 already. Now, I think Carlos Sainz has had some kind of issue here or something, because he has been holding up basically a really long train of people. Through the corners, he's so slow. I don't know if he's got floor damage or something. I imagine it wouldn't be wing damage, because wing damage is this bad, and I reckon that he would have boxed by now. So Carlos Sainz really struggling with something. It means with the DRS, he is, not a particularly formidable challenge for us to clear here as we dive up the inside at the end of the DRS zone. And now we just have to hope that Carlos Sainz can create a bit of a buffer for us. If he's having issues, hopefully other people struggle to overtake him a bit more.
Caution, caution.
We make our way onto lap 7, and you can see that Carlos Sainz so far has been the rolling roadblock I was hoping he would be. We're 9 seconds ahead of that train that he's holding up. Dennis Hauger has retired from the race, and that has promoted us up into P5, so we are going to be grabbing 10 points. And as things stand, I will be taking the lead of the Drivers' Championship here. There's another DNF about to come, and this time it is in the form of Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. He started 20th, if I'm not mistaken, had some kind of issue at the start of the sprint, and that bumped him all the way down to the bottom of the pack. And now he's retired from the race. So yeah, a difficult weekend for the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc there, as his teammate continues to hold up a train behind me. Perez did manage to break through eventually, but he's still 15 seconds down on me, so it's going to take quite a lot for him to catch us now. I am boxing on lap 12 for the hard tyres, and we're going to be going to the end on these hard compound tyres. There was the option of doing soft medium, and that's what pretty much everyone else around me was doing. But I have decided that I think going on harder compounds of tyres is the right call whenever possible. We break a bit late going into the first corner, and that sees us go off the track a little bit, but fortunately we don't get any kind of warning for it or anything like that. Nobody is really even that close to us. I think Sergio Perez is the closest driver, and like I said, he was about 15 seconds down on us before the pit stop, so we will see whereabouts he is once all of these guys start coming in to the pits. Gasly has come in, and he's coming out of the pits now, and he's actually not too far ahead of us by the looks of things. Only a couple seconds at the moment, and he will have to warm up those tyres, whereas we've already done that. So I'm feeling like we may be able to actually get ahead of him here if we can stay with him. We're in his DRS range, so who knows what might be possible. The Alfa Romeos on the medium compound tyres yet to pit, but I imagine that will be coming pretty soon. And indeed, I think that Zhou Guanyu is coming into the pit lane there. And, well, you may have seen it just there, but you'll see it again in a second. Look who is in 7th place. How has he done that? I'll tell you how he's done that. He boxed on lap 7 because he got some kind of damage, and that ended up working out a treat for him because Carlos Sainz was holding up that really long train. So Norris now has somehow managed to break his way into P7, and it'll be P6 wants Tsunoda boxes as well. Meanwhile, we're closing down Pierre Gasly. We're baiting him to the inside of the corner and then switching back to the outside. He's had a horrible run through there because he was on the inside, and that's allowed us to go for the switchback. We're going to be wheel to wheel with Pierre Gasly through the next corner. Around the outside, we try and go, but he's still fighting us back. But we're going to have the inside line for the following corner, and we just push him out, and that is us up into P4. Very, very strong race for us. P16 to P4 we've gone. Next car up the road is Jack Doohan, and I feel like that is going to be maybe a bit of a tall order for us to catch up for 6 seconds to him, but who knows? Who can say for certain? One thing's for sure, I will be pleased regardless of where we finish now. I'll be a little bit disappointed that Lando Norris didn't finish outside the points. I definitely feel like he probably should have done, but I was wondering if he was going to box again. He didn't. I can tell you that right now, because I was going to check it, and I couldn't because Gasly obviously got in our way. Eventually, Perez did manage to get past Lando Norris, but it still only pushed Lando Norris down to P7. So as things stand, we will not be taking the lead of the championship. And I don't really think, maybe Sargent might catch Norris there in P8, but apart from that, I can't really see anyone else catching up to Lando Norris. So there's no chance unless we take the fastest lap and Sargent overtakes him, or we improve our position, I guess, which is looking less and less likely as Doohan continues to pull further and further away from us. And there's basically no chance we're going to be taking the lead of the championship at the end of this race. But we are holding on to P4, which is nice. Gasly hasn't really put any pressure on us whatsoever, and that is something that makes me very happy, because it means that we're just having a bit of a comfortable race. Obviously, he's keeping us honest. He is only a few tenths down on us, still in that DRS range. Perez on those medium tyres, not catching us quickly enough that he'll be a threat before the end of the race. And the top three occupied by the two McLarens and Albon, of course. So all three of the top three drivers here today have driven for McLaren at some point this season. Of course, Doohan was Albon's replacement in McLaren when Albon got the call up to replace Porsche at Mercedes. I still think that was incredibly harsh, I have to be honest. But if it has done anything, it has opened my eyes to Jack Doohan and the amazing potential that he has. If he gets this result, I think he will already be on 100 points this season, which begs the question, if Jack Doohan had had a full season in Formula 1, would he be a legitimate title contender right now? Because he's probably got as many points in this part of the season as the likes of myself, Norris, Piastri. He started in race 12 was it of the season, and this is race number 19, so 8 races he scored over 100 points. This will be Jack Doohan is a complete and utter powerhouse, and I am very much looking forward to attempting to sign him at the end of the season. Unless anyone thinks it's a bad idea, please stake your claim in the comments if you disagree with my logic of wanting to sign him. I've been absolutely mind blown by how good Jack Doohan has been in the latter half of the season. Overtaking those back markers there, De Vries and Gasly's teammate Esteban Ocon, embarrassing for him. That actually held up Pierre Gasly to the point that he fell out of my DRS range, which is a bit of a shame because it means that on the final lap there was basically guaranteed we would have no jeopardy. Albon and Piastri were battling right down until the final lap, but I think it's going to be Albon getting through to get the victory. He's only got a couple more corners. I don't think they're the kinds of corners where you usually see overtakes, so it should be a Mercedes victory. And well, at least they are staying afloat in the Constructors' Championship. They are one of our closer rivals there, along with Red Bull and McLaren. It's anyone's guess who's going to come out anywhere in the top 4 there. But speaking of top 4s, we are going to round the final corner and come up to the line to take P4. And from 16th on the grid, that is a absolutely fantastic result. I am very, very happy with that one. I'm hoping we get driver of the day. We should do, making up 12 positions. Oh, of course it was fucking Lando Norris. Of course it was. Well, anyway, we did good.
A truly magnificent drive then, and a great performance from the entire team to secure victory here in Austin. So, Natalie, what made the difference out there today?
Well, confidence breeds confidence. Success breeds success. They are very much enjoying a purple patch right now.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
Nah, man, how has Lando Norris got driver of the day here? Seriously, I went up 12 positions, he went up 10, and he gained them all on strategy because he broke his front wing and had the box, whereas I actually legitimately made 12 overtakes on track. I am fuming about this. I don't think I've ever been more annoyed at losing out on driver of the day. It's completely arbitrary and I'm still frustrated. The podium's Albon, Piastri and Doohan, but I genuinely couldn't care less right now. I am livid about that. I can't believe that he got it over me. What is that?
So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Let's focus on driver of the day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
It's an interesting one today. On balance, I think I have to call out Alex Albon. A really strong drive for him today, and one that he and his team should be very proud of.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, as Red Bull's struggles continue, we have now overtaken them in the Constructors' Championship, and we are up into P3 once again. With only 4 races left to go, there is a very good opportunity for us to hopefully pull ahead of them. But of course, it is going to be Sergio Perez's home race next time, so I'm sure that he will want to get a good result there to hopefully help his team forge ahead in the Constructors. And, well, I don't know where George Russell was in this race. I literally didn't see him at all, basically, so I can only assume that he had a pretty difficult one. In any case, we are 3 points off Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship now, and with the Mexico City Grand Prix coming up next, it's anyone's guess who's going to be leading after that one, because usually, in my experience, Mexico City throws up me having a lack of pace, but then it gets balanced out with an insane amount of chaos. I feel like every Mexico City Grand Prix I ever have, there's about 2 or 3 safety cars, maybe a red flag for good measure, somebody spins at turn 1, and, you know, there's a bunch of drama that happens as a result of that. I don't know how it's going to unfold, but I am very much looking forward to how that one is going to play out for us. Hopefully, even if we do struggle for the pace, which I think is quite likely, hopefully we will nonetheless be able to hold on in the championship and not drop too many points to Lando Norris, because after that we have 2 of my strongest races on the whole calendar, Brazil and Portugal. Something about Portuguese speaking countries, I just excel at doing a Formula 1 Grand Prix around them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to both of them. We've obviously won both of them already. In the case of Brazil, I think we've actually won it twice in Season 2 and 3. We won Portugal in Season 2. Should have won it in Season 3, but got very unlucky with red flag timings. If that hadn't happened, I think we probably would have won that one. Not that it made much of a difference in the end. We weren't a championship contender last season. We had too long during the season where we just didn't have any kind of pace whatsoever. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the final few races play out in this season. Oscar Piastri is still, I guess, a rank outsider for Drivers' Champion. He's 35 points down on me, 38 points down on Norris. So he's going to need a lot of luck and a lot of good results as well for the championship to go his way. You know, there's a chance where he could win every race and still now it wouldn't be enough for him to get back into the championship, because he would only pull away by, I guess, 29 points if you include the sprint that happens in Brazil. So yeah, we will see. One thing that is going to make things a bit more interesting is that this rivalry between myself and Sergio Perez is over. And I've won it, so we are going to be bumping the difficulty up. You might know how this works, you might not, but if I win a rivalry, I increase the difficulty, and vice versa. If I lose, I decrease it. So we are going to be increasing the difficulty to 100 difficulty, and that is the highest difficulty I have ever played a Formula 1 career mode on. So we are really in for a challenging end to the season here. That is for sure and certain. That is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.